U.S.-China conflict, analyzing the military capabilities of 1.4 billion versus 331 million in a potential war. Comprehensive overview. The U.S.-China conflict has emerged as a central concern for global politics, particularly regarding military capabilities. The stark contrast in population, China with approximately 1.4 billion and the United States with around 331 million, raises critical questions about how these factors could shape the outcome of any potential military confrontation. This report delves into the military strengths, technological advancements, geopolitical strategies, and the implications of a potential conflict between these two superpowers. Military strength and capabilities. China's military modernization. China's military, known as the People's Liberation Army (PLA), has experienced significant modernization over the past 2 decades. Key areas of focus include naval expansion. The PLA Navy plan has increased its fleet size and advanced its capabilities, aiming to project power regionally and globally. This includes the construction of aircraft carriers, advanced submarines, and surface vessels designed for blue water operations. Missile technology. China has developed a sophisticated missile arsenal including anti-ship ballistic missiles (ASBMs) and long-range precision strike capabilities. This allows for effective deterrence and the potential to target U.S. assets in the region. Cyber warfare. China has heavily invested in cyber capabilities, creating units specifically focused on cyber espionage and warfare. This includes efforts to disrupt communication networks and critical infrastructure of adversaries. Aerial capabilities. The PLA Air Force (PLAAF) has modernized its fleet with advanced fighter jets and strategic bombers, enhancing its ability to conduct operations in contested environments. The United States military. The U.S. military remains a formidable force characterized by technological superiority. The U.S. maintains an edge in defense technology, including stealth aircraft, precision-guided munitions, and advanced surveillance systems. This technological advantage is bolstered by significant research and development investments. Global network of bases. The U.S. has a vast network of military bases worldwide, facilitating rapid deployment and logistical support in various theaters of operation. Highly trained volunteer force. The U.S. military relies on a professional volunteer force that undergoes rigorous training, ensuring high levels of readiness and operational effectiveness. Joint operations capability. The U.S. military emphasizes joint operations across its branches, enhancing interoperability and collective effectiveness in combat scenarios. Key comparisons. Personnel and resources. While China's larger population provides a vast pool of potential military personnel, the U.S. focuses on the quality of its forces. The U.S. military's investment in training and technology means that it can often achieve superior effectiveness with fewer personnel. This aspect is critical in modern warfare, where technology and training can offset numerical disadvantages. Technology and innovation. The technological landscape is a crucial battleground in the U.S.-China rivalry. The U.S. leads in many advanced military technologies but faces increasing competition from China, which is rapidly developing its capabilities in drone technology and anti-access/area denial A2/AD strategies. The ability to project power and deny access to adversaries is becoming central to both nations' military doctrines. Geopolitical strategies. The U.S. has cultivated a network of alliances, particularly in Europe and Asia, which could offer strategic advantages in a conflict scenario. NATO and partnerships with countries like Japan, South Korea, and Australia enhance the U.S.'s position. Conversely, China seeks to expand its influence through initiatives like the Belt and Road Initiative, but often encounters regional resistance and pushback from neighboring countries wary of its rise. Common themes across sources. Several themes emerge from analyses of the U.S.-China military dynamics. 1. Taiwan as a flashpoint. The potential for conflict over Taiwan remains a significant concern. Analysts suggest that military engagement in this region could escalate into a broader conflict involving the US and its allies. 2. Economic interdependence. The intertwined economies of the US and China complicate military engagements as both nations have substantial trade ties that could be severely impacted by war. 3. Cyber warfare. The increasing importance of cyber warfare is highlighted, with both nations investing heavily in capabilities that could disrupt each other's communication and infrastructure. Differences in perspectives. Analysts vary in their assessments of how a conflict might unfold. Limited conflict versus full-scale war. Some sources emphasize the likelihood of limited conflicts such as regional skirmishes or proxy wars, while others warn of the potential for full-scale war, especially if miscalculations occur. Implications of conflict. Narratives diverge on the implications of a US-China conflict. Some argue it could lead to a new world order, while others emphasize the catastrophic consequences of nuclear warfare, underscoring the global stakes involved. Timeline of recent events. A timeline of significant events leading up to the current situation includes 2017, the U.S. national security strategy identifies China as a strategic competitor, marking a shift in U.S. policy. 2020, in response to rising tensions, the U.S. increases its military presence in the Indo-Pacific region, signaling its commitment to countering China's influence. 2021, China conducts military drills near Taiwan, raising alarms in Washington and among regional allies about the potential for conflict. 2022, the U.S. passes legislation aimed at strengthening defense ties with Taiwan, further aggravating tensions with China. 2023, both nations conduct ongoing military exercises, signaling their preparedness for potential conflict scenarios. Conclusion. The U.S.-China conflict presents a complex landscape shaped by military capabilities, population size, technological advancement, and geopolitical strategies. While both nations prepare for various scenarios, the implications of their rivalry extend beyond military engagements, affecting global stability and economic relations. The analysis underscores the necessity for diplomatic efforts to manage tensions and avoid catastrophic outcomes, particularly given the potential for miscalculation in a highly volatile environment. In light of the ongoing military modernization efforts and geopolitical maneuvering, it is crucial for policymakers to engage in dialogue and seek peaceful resolutions to disputes, particularly in sensitive regions like the South China Sea and Taiwan. The stakes are high, and the need for a balanced approach to security and diplomacy has never been more critical. The analysis of the U.S.-China military capabilities reveals several counterintuitive insights. 1. Numerical superiority versus technological superiority. While China's larger population and military personnel might suggest an advantage in sheer numbers, the advanced training and technological superiority of the U.S. military could effectively neutralize this numerical edge. This challenges the traditional notion that larger forces are inherently more effective in military conflict. 2. Economic interdependence as a deterrent. The deep economic ties between the U.S. and China might initially appear to be a vulnerability for both nations, suggesting that a conflict would be detrimental to both economies. However, this interdependence could also serve as a deterrent against war, as both sides recognize the high costs of military engagement, complicating their strategic calculations. 3. Cyber warfare dynamics. The emphasis on cyber warfare capabilities highlights that the battlefield may not be restricted to conventional military engagements. The potential for a conflict to begin in cyberspace, targeting infrastructure and communication systems, suggests that the nature of warfare is evolving in ways that could favor the side that excels in cyber capabilities rather than traditional military assets. 4. Miscalculation risks in limited conflicts. The idea that a limited conflict could escalate into a full-scale war is often underestimated. Analysts may downplay the risks of miscalculations or unintended consequences in regional skirmishes, suggesting that any military engagement could quickly spiral beyond initial intentions, leading to catastrophic outcomes. 5. Geopolitical alliances and power dynamics. the assumption that the US's network of alliances like NATO automatically provides a strategic advantage may overlook the complexities of modern geopolitics. Regional partners may have varying interests and may not uniformly support US actions against China, complicating the dynamics of any conflict. 6. China's rapid technological advancements. While the US is perceived as the leader in defense technology, China's rapid advancements in specific areas such as drone technology and anti-access/area denial strategies indicate that the gap is closing. This challenges the narrative that the US will always have a clear technological edge, suggesting that underestimating China's capabilities could lead to strategic miscalculations. 7. Public perception and domestic politics. The influence of public perception and domestic political considerations on military engagements is often understated. Leaders in both countries may face pressure to act decisively in the face of perceived threats, which could lead to actions that escalate tensions unnecessarily. This dynamic complicates the simplistic view of military engagements as purely strategic decisions. These counterintuitive insights highlight the complexity of the US-China military rivalry, suggesting that traditional assumptions about military conflict may not fully capture the realities of modern warfare and geopolitical interactions. In analyzing the military capabilities of the United States and China, particularly in the context of a potential conflict, several important aspects often get overlooked. Here are some of the significant points, along with their implications. 1. Quality versus quantity in personnel. While it is commonly acknowledged that China has a larger population, 1.4 billion, compared to the US 331 million, the qualitative aspects of military personnel are frequently underestimated. The US military operates on a volunteer basis, which leads to a highly trained and motivated force. In contrast, while the People's Liberation Army (PLA) has a larger number of personnel, the effectiveness of these troops can vary significantly due to differences in training experience and morale. Significance: this qualitative edge may prove crucial in a conflict scenario, where skilled troops can make strategic decisions and execute complex operations more effectively than larger but less trained forces. The perception of U.S. military superiority in terms of training and professionalism could deter potential aggression or miscalculations by adversaries. 2. Technological superiority and innovation. The U.S. has long been considered a leader in military technology, with advancements in areas like stealth technology, precision-guided munitions, and space capabilities. However, there is a growing narrative that China is rapidly advancing, especially in areas such as drone warfare and cyber capabilities. Significance: the importance of technological innovation cannot be overstated. While the U.S. currently holds an advantage, the pace of China's advancements suggests that this gap may narrow in the coming years. This could shift the balance of power and necessitate a re-evaluation of U.S. military strategy. Ignoring this technological evolution could lead to strategic miscalculations. 3. Geopolitical alliances. The U.S. has a robust network of alliances, including NATO and partnerships with countries in the Indo-Pacific region. These alliances are often viewed as a significant strength in the U.S. military posture. However, the potential for regional responses to a U.S.-China conflict is frequently underappreciated. Significance: the dynamics of alliances can greatly influence the outcome of military engagements. A conflict involving Taiwan could see regional allies such as Japan and Australia coming to the aid of the U.S., while China's relationships, especially with Russia and North Korea, could provide it with critical support. The interplay of these alliances could shape the strategic landscape in ways that are not always fully anticipated. 4. Economic interdependence. The economic ties between the U.S. and China are both a stabilizing factor and a potential flashpoint. While many analysts focus on the military aspects of the conflict, the intertwined economic relationship might often be overlooked. Significance: in the event of a military conflict, the repercussions on global trade and economics could be devastating. both nations could suffer significant losses which could act as a deterrent against direct confrontation. Understanding the economic stakes is essential in comprehending the motivations behind military posturing and the potential for conflict resolution. 5. Cyber warfare capabilities. Cyber warfare is an increasingly important aspect of modern military strategy. Both the US and China have invested heavily in cyber capabilities, which can disrupt military operations and critical infrastructure. Significance: the potential for a cyber conflict that precedes or accompanies traditional military engagements is significant. Misjudgments in cyber operations could escalate tensions rapidly. A focus on traditional military assets might lead to underestimating the impact of cyber capabilities on national security. 6. Regional flashpoints beyond Taiwan. While Taiwan is often cited as the most likely flashpoint for conflict, there are other regional tensions that could provoke military engagements, such as disputes in the South China Sea or conflicts on the Korean Peninsula. Significance: overlooking these potential flashpoints could lead to an incomplete understanding of the conflict's dynamics. Regional skirmishes could escalate unexpectedly, drawing in larger powers and complicating the strategic situation. 7. Nuclear deterrence and miscalculation. The presence of nuclear weapons in both arsenals is frequently mentioned, but the implications of nuclear deterrence and the dangers of miscalculation are often simplified. Significance: the risk of miscalculation leading to nuclear engagement is a critical concern that requires careful consideration. The complexity of deterrence strategies and the potential for unintended escalation cannot be ignored in discussions of military conflict. 8. Public perception and psychological factors. The psychological aspects of warfare, including public perception, media narratives, and domestic political pressures, are often overlooked in military analyses. Significance: the way military actions are perceived by the public can influence government decisions and conflict escalation. Understanding the psychological landscape is crucial for anticipating reactions and managing tensions effectively. Conclusion. In summary, while traditional metrics such as personnel numbers and technological capabilities are important in assessing the military balance between the US and China, there are several nuanced factors that can significantly influence the outcome of a potential conflict. These include the quality of personnel, the impact of alliances, the role of economic interdependence, the importance of cyber warfare, and the psychological aspects of military engagement. Recognizing and analyzing these often overlooked dimensions is essential for a comprehensive understanding of the US-China military dynamics and for formulating effective policies to manage the risks of conflict. 1. Military strength and capabilities. The analysis highlights the stark contrast in military capabilities between the US and China. China's rapid modernization of its military, including advancements in missile technology, cyber warfare, and naval power, contrasts with the US's focus on technological superiority and advanced training. Understanding the nuances of both nations' military strengths is crucial for assessing the potential outcomes of a conflict. 2. Technology and innovation. The ongoing technological arms race between the US and China is a critical point of discussion. While the US maintains an edge in defense technologies such as stealth and precision-guided munitions, China is quickly advancing, particularly in drone warfare and anti-access/area denial strategies. This dynamic not only shapes military engagements but also influences global military trends and innovation. 3. Geopolitical strategies and alliances. The geopolitical landscape plays a vital role in military conflict scenarios. The US benefits from a network of alliances that enhance its strategic positioning, while China's initiatives like the Belt and Road Initiative are met with regional skepticism. Analyzing these geopolitical strategies can provide insights into potential conflict scenarios and the likelihood of international involvement. For economic interdependence and conflict implications, the intertwined economies of the US and China complicate the prospect of military conflict. Economic ties may serve as a deterrent against war, but they also highlight the risks of significant global disruption. The implications of potential conflict extend beyond military considerations, affecting global stability, trade relations, and economic security, necessitating a comprehensive understanding of the interconnectedness of military and economic factors. 1. The Cold War 1947 to 1991. The Cold War between the United States and the Soviet Union serves as a historical example of a conflict characterized by military capability assessments, technological competition, and geopolitical strategies. Both superpowers had vastly different populations and resources, with the Soviet Union having a larger military personnel base, while the United States leveraged advanced technology and a network of alliances. The Cold War was marked by proxy wars, nuclear deterrence, and an arms race, including advancements in missile technology and space capabilities paralleling the current U.S.-China dynamics. 2. The Vietnam War 1955 to 1975. In the Vietnam War, the United States, with a smaller population than China, engaged in a conflict against North Vietnam, which had significant support from China and the Soviet Union. The war highlighted the complexities of military engagement despite the U.S.'s technological advantages, including air power and advanced weaponry. The conflict also demonstrated the impact of popular support in guerrilla warfare tactics, as well as the challenges of fighting in unfamiliar terrains. Reflecting themes relevant to the potential U.S.-China military confrontation. 3. The Gulf War 1990 to 1991. The Gulf War is another historical case that illustrates the importance of military capability and coalition building. The United States led a coalition of nations against Iraq, which had a larger population but less sophisticated military technology. The decisive victory of the coalition highlighted the effectiveness of advanced military technology, intelligence, and logistics, underscoring the principle that quantity does not always translate to capability or success in modern warfare. This conflict is often referenced in contemporary analyses of military engagements between major powers. The future outlook of the U.S.-China conflict, particularly regarding military capabilities, indicates a complex and multifaceted scenario shaped by demographic, technological, and geopolitical factors. As tensions mount and both nations continue to bolster their military readiness, several predictions can be made about the trajectory of this rivalry. 1. Increased military modernization and spending. China is expected to continue its military modernization efforts with a focus on enhancing its naval, air, and missile capabilities. This includes investments in artificial intelligence, AI, and quantum technology, which could revolutionize warfare. The U.S., recognizing the challenge, is likely to increase its defense budget and further accelerate research and development in cutting-edge technologies, including hypersonic weapons and cyber capabilities. 2. Technological arms race. The U.S.-China conflict is likely to evolve into a technological arms race. Both nations will invest heavily in emerging technologies such as AI, machine learning, autonomous systems, and cyber warfare tools. The winner of this technological race may gain a significant strategic advantage, allowing it to dominate future battlefields. 3. Regional conflicts and proxy wars. As both nations seek to assert their influence, the likelihood of regional conflicts or proxy wars increases. Areas like the South China Sea, Taiwan Strait, and even Africa may become battlegrounds for influence, where the U.S. and its allies support local entities against Chinese expansion. These conflicts could involve non-state actors and lead to a prolonged state of instability. 4. Cyber warfare as a primary battlefield. With both nations investing in cyber capabilities, future conflicts will likely see cyber warfare as a central component. Attacks on critical infrastructure, financial systems, and military networks could become more common. The potential for significant disruption without traditional military engagement makes this a critical area to watch. 5. Impact of global alliances. The U.S. will likely strengthen its alliances, particularly in the Asia-Pacific region, through joint military exercises and defense agreements. NATO and other partnerships may also adapt to counterbalance China's growing influence. Conversely, China may seek to deepen ties with other nations, including Russia and countries in the global south, to counter US-led coalitions. 6. Escalation of tensions over Taiwan. The situation surrounding Taiwan will remain a flashpoint. Increased military exercises by both China and the US around Taiwan could lead to miscalculations. If China decides to take aggressive actions towards Taiwan, the US may be compelled to respond militarily, potentially escalating into a broader conflict. 7. Economic interdependence and conflict resolution. Despite military tensions, economic interdependence will continue to complicate conflict scenarios. Both nations rely on one another for trade, which could deter full-scale war. Diplomatic channels may be prioritized to manage tensions, as both countries understand the catastrophic consequences of a military conflict. 8. Nuclear deterrence and strategic stability. The nuclear capabilities of both nations will play a critical role in conflict dynamics. The US will likely continue to modernize its nuclear arsenal while maintaining a policy of deterrence. China, gradually expanding its nuclear capabilities, may seek to establish a more credible second strike capability, which could lead to a more precarious balance of power. 9. Public sentiment and nationalism. Domestic factors, including public sentiment and rising nationalism, will influence the actions of both governments. In China, the Communist Party may leverage nationalism to justify aggressive policies. In the US, growing concerns over national security may drive public support for more assertive military policies, complicating diplomatic efforts. 10. Future diplomatic efforts. Despite the growing rivalry, there will be attempts at diplomacy to prevent conflict escalation. Both nations may engage in negotiations to establish norms in cyberspace, arms control agreements, and confidence-building measures to minimize the risk of unintended confrontations. Conclusion. The US-China conflict presents a challenging landscape characterized by military modernization, technological competition, regional tensions, and economic interdependence. As both nations navigate this complex rivalry, the potential for conflict remains, but so does the opportunity for diplomatic engagement. The future will likely involve a delicate balance of competition and cooperation, with significant implications for global stability and security. As the world watches, the actions taken by both nations will shape the geopolitical landscape for years to come.